So my name is Tony Morgan. I'm an associate professor in innovation management practice at the business school, but my background is in industry. I worked for 30 years in IT and technology, 20 years for IBM, including chief innovation officer at one of IBM's global business units. I'm going to be joined by my great colleague, Dr. Lena Jaspersen, but I'm going to kick off. When we're talking about global challenges and meeting challenges with innovation, I think it's really important, first of all, to think what innovation means. And there's lots of potential definitions. The one that we really like is this one. Innovation is the application of new ideas or existing ideas in a new context, which result in change that delivers value. With two key messages from that. First of all, innovation, yes, it's about something new, but sometimes it's about applying existing things in new contexts, such as different industries. Secondly, absolutely has to be about delivering change and value. Innovation is different from invention. It's about applying things. And when we're doing that, there's lots of problems that we need to solve. There are global challenges, local challenges, opportunities, issues for your organization or for your customers. And there's also lots and lots of ideas. But one of the key things we think sometimes is we don't really know what is truly needed. And I'll take a quick poll through the chat if that's okay. But if people could just let me know with a yes or a no, who's got some experience of using this thing called design thinking? If you could put a yes or a no or a Y or an N in the chat, that would be brilliant. So we're getting quite a few yeses. That's brilliant. If it's no, that's absolutely fine as well. So actually, quite a few people have got some experience. That's great. So what design thinking is about, I'm just trying to close the chat so I can see my screen. Brilliant. Thank you for that response. That's great. It's about two things to me. It's about understanding the people and it's about understanding the problem. And I think too often, I'm sure you've all used websites or mobile apps that haven't really been designed with the end users, the people in mind. And sometimes that's true for physical things as well. I sometimes think of public toilets. You might think that's a strange example, but you wash your hands and then you have to open 2 or 3 doors on the way out. So it's negated the benefit of washing your hands. That's not really been designed to think about the people and the real problems in mind. So to give you a quick example of a problem, a bit of an urban myth, perhaps this one, but I think it really makes the point. In the 1960s, in the space race, the Americans realized they had a problem. When they wrote on a surface in space, the ink floated away. So they came up with their problem statement, which is, we need a pen that will write in space. And sometimes later, and $1 million later, they came up with this. Well, not this one, this is a different pen, but the space pen that could write in space and the ink didn't float away. So great. But the Russians looked at the problem differently. They said, the real problem is we need to write in space. And they came up with this, the pencil. So you can see sometimes by understanding the problem and getting the problem statement right, the innovation can be much faster, much more cost effective. Other times you might find the problem is much more complex, but it's really understanding what the real problem is before you jump into trying to fix it. And design thinking comes with, to me, 3 underlying themes or sort of concepts, if you like. The first one is diversity. It's really important that we have diverse teams. If we have a group of similar people sitting in the same room, they'll come up with similar ideas in general. My favorite projects, innovation projects in IBM, were always where we mix the experienced people like myself with the unconstrained thinking of our new graduates, placement students and apprentices, and then match those two with the business and industry knowledge of our clients. Put them together and we had some great projects, some great deliverables, which no one of those 3 constituent groups could have put together themselves. So diversity is really important. Many design thinking techniques have also got divergence built into them. So they'll come in 2 steps. The first step will be about divergence. It'll be about ensuring we get the input and the diversity of input from every member of the team or the group that are involved in the activity. Sometimes, I think we all know, we've been there when somebody's dominating the conversation. This stops 1 or 2 people dominating things. Then we bring in convergence, and the convergence gets the power of the team, and that's where we make choices. So it's really important to have diversity of inputs, divergence, some of the activities, and then converging back together. And the design thinking process itself, for those of you, as a reminder for the ones who've used it, as an update or new information for those that haven't, it's really usually thought of as 5 phases. You start with defining the problem, and I won't go into each of these blue phrases, but they're the techniques that we can use during design thinking. It's about understanding the problem, then it's about understanding the end users. And the best way to do that is to spend time with them. It's to shadow them, interview them. But also there is a series of techniques. Building upon what Joe and Danielle were saying, stakeholder mapping is absolutely key. Understanding how those stakeholders have got relationships with each other. Then building empathy for the end users, understanding them. So when you come to create your problems, your solutions, you understand what their real problems are. We have things like the big ideas where we diverge to create diverse ideas, and then we converge into the prioritization grid so that we pick the best ideas, and we do that quickly. In my experience, there is no shortage of ideas, but sometimes difficult to choose the right ones. Then we use things like hills and storyboards to define where we're going with this chosen idea, so we can create a solution that really does meet the needs of the people that need it, but also that we can communicate it. The to-be scenario shows what the end user experience will be in future, to look where there may be problems that we can fix. We then prototype the solution very quickly. We play it back to our end users, we get the feedback, and we move forward. And then we go back around the loop again. So I'm going to hand over to Lena now, who's going to talk about understanding the people.
Yes, and I think in all this, it's really important to actually keep the people in mind. And this means also in particular the users. I would like to share with you an example. I mean, we see here the sick child, I think everyone's worst nightmare. And often in these situations, we need to know what's happening inside that child's body that makes that child so sick. One of the technologies that have proven to be very effective in that is, I don't think I can navigate the slides. I'm sorry.
Sorry, we're on the next one.
Yes, thank you. Is the MRI scanner, which is, of course, a brilliant technical solution. And I think some of us would have already used it. But then I think those who did, they will know how scary it can be to be trapped in this machine, and this really noisy machine often as well. So there was a team of design thinkers that developed a new solution for that particular situation, which is this MRI scanner. And it's the same machine, but the way it's been set up and all of these different stickers and murals allow the people using it to make the whole experience into a great story. So the advantage of that being is a child is much more likely to experience this, A, as a less scary experience, and also to hold still during the procedure when you can explain it within a great story rather than when it's just in there and being frightened. Because in the past, there was the problem that time and again, people had to repeat scans because of children not holding still or finding this too scary. And with this new solution, they even had children asking whether they can come back because the whole package of the story around this made it a big adventure. I think it's a really exciting example that shows to us the importance of really thinking about the people involved, the children, the parents, and also the medical personnel. I would like to quickly share with you, I'm very aware of time, of another recent example that Tony and I were involved in personally. We ran a workshop for the United Nations Environment Programme, and they have a special area where they look at safety and sustainable transport. And here we ran a design thinking workshop online with people from different countries in Europe and Africa, focusing very specifically on the problems of infrastructure development in Africa for cyclists and for people who walk, who are very often overlooked. So we looked at ways of how can we generate data to show to governments the importance of enabling cyclists and walkers to make that choice and to be safe doing so. For that, we used the online platform Zoom, which we're using now, combined with another collaboration platform called Mural, which helped us actually to do a lot of these design thinking activities, which we often do in a room with like stickers and things, together like in one collaborative online space. We have to see now how the ideas generated in this procedure have been taken forward, and we will see what more research and impact projects will come out of that. But for now, we got really good feedback of participants saying, wow, you know, bringing us together in this way, looking at new ideas from the perspective of users, of farmers trying to get to the market, or parents who can't get their children to school across busy roads. These kind of more user-centered perspective really help them to develop new and important ideas. So I think the one message we would really like you to remember, therefore, is we need to really think and understand the problem and the people involved. And often I think we tend to have a solution we really like to apply to the world, and we're excited about our solution. But in fact, actually, it is much more important that we really fall in love with the problem and really attend to the problem. And then I think often we're in a much better position to deliver some really mind-blowing and super useful solutions. So we believe that design thinking can help you to do just that. And and we hope that we can have, since many of you used it already, can have a conversation with you about that now.